Okay, you're being recorded.
Okay.
All
Thanks for.
right,
Uh,
Cesar, uh,
yes.
pronounce your last name now.
It's Basque. Reategui for here in America, but it's Reategui is Basque, house of the king. So my ancestor had to do something in the king's house. So Rea meaning king and Tega meaning house in Basque.
All right, let's see here. I'm trying to figure out how to use this thing because I'm used to seeing the. Let's see. Hold on one second. It's float. Let's see if window does. Oh. So are you familiar with Skype very much?
I've used it a lot before. Now it's everything what's up here. Um, also the other I've used different programs. But yes,
Zoom. You probably use Zoom and
yes, mostly Zoom, and I've used Skype some, a while back.
okay. So all right. What you asked me if I wanted you to talk about the aliens or something else, and I don't. I of course the aliens are the topic du jour. What people like to hear about, but I'm personally I have other topics that I talk about that I feel like are actually more important than aliens. But the Apunia, who I assume you're uh, you're in connection with in some fashion. I assume that's your big topic to talk about, but I also understand that you and they are not one entity. You have other parts of your being that are beyond them. So obviously you have other things to talk about in addition to that. So I'm leading up to a question here, which I'll get to in just a second. So if somebody asks me, do I want to talk about aliens or do I want to talk about the paranormal, some other particular topic? I always tell them a different topic that's not aliens, even though they want to hear about aliens. In this case, I want to hear about aliens, but that doesn't mean we're going to tie you down to talking about aliens. So the first question I have to you is, do you have more paranormal experience or do you have more altered states of consciousness experience, or do you have more alien? What type of experience has dominated your life most?
A little bit of everything. I've gone out to outings with contact groups, Sixto in it, and also other groups as well. And this, I'm talking in different countries. Um, in Chilca, specifically, I've seen them. There was, depending on
What is Chilka?
Chilca. I'm so sorry. Chilca is a desert where the
What country
contact.
is it in?
Sorry.
What country is it in?
Is in Peru, south of Lima, 60 kilometers south of Lima,
Oh, okay.
where the contact started with Sixto Paz and the group Rhama, February of '74. His dad, if I go back, his dad was already part of the Peruvian Air Force, and on his spare time, he was investigating the UFO phenomena, but more on the scientific note. Sixto was already practicing Hatha Yoga and Mantra Yoga meditation 2 years ago, before that. So I don't want to get off the subject, but why Chilca is such an important place for contact to see the UFOs and so forth. Stop me if I'm going off.
No, you're
And
fine. Go ahead. Go ahead.
there's two bases in the ocean of the Pacific Ocean in front of Peru. Okay, one of them is specifically is right in front of Chilca, and
But underwater alien bases?
yes,
Okay.
one of
How are
one of
they?
the
Why are the two as opposed to one? Are they like very far from each other, or are they right next to each other? How do you get two instead of just one?
I know there's two, and Peru is not the only country. There's others,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I understand.
But I mean, Sixto was even taken to one of them for a couple of hours one day, and specifically is at the altitude of where Chilca is. If you see 60 kilometers south of Lima, Chilca, so on the west of it, that's where the base is so deep inside that not even our submarines can go that deep down.
Okay, so uh, let's go back. Let's forget the aliens for a second and let's talk about you. Okay, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell me about who
Sure.
you are.
I'm going ahead of myself. I'm Peruvian. My name is Cisar Reategui. Um, I was born in Lima, Peru, back in '65. I came to the States when I was 8 for a year and a half or two in 1974, right after the Watergate era. Carter had just gone into the White House, and my dad, he was an engineer working for an American company in Peru. He decided to go back, so we did. So, long story short, we went back to Peru for 10 years. Things got bad in Peru, economically speaking, inflation, hyperinflation, guerrillas, and whatnot. So he decided to come back again to the U.S., and we came back in 1981, March of 81. I was already getting hooked into the UFO phenomena, into the abnormalities and whatnot, through a magazine that I would ask my dad to buy for me every weekend when we would go to the movies. While my brother was asking for his chocolate and soda, I also wanted that magazine that talked about the stuff called Lo Insolito. And I was 8. I was very young. So ever since then, I liked that. Shortly after that, we went to Lima. Being a big city, you get distracted. So I got away from it. When we came back to the U.S., my dad, liking to read a lot of everything, he also likes this subject. So one of Sixto's books, The Extraterrestrial Guides, landed on his hands. And when I saw it, it changed my life totally because it was everything I was looking for. Um, I don't want to go off the tangent. Let me know if you want me to touch another any subject.
Go ahead. This is
Okay,
this
so
is going to be a fun interview for you because there is no wrong thing for you to speak of. Anything you want to speak of is perfectly fine.
no. I just want to be in the subject.
You're in the
The
subject.
the contact of extraterrestrial contact. We've never been alone. We are such a special planet in the universe. Why us, right? I mean, being so millions and millions of worlds out there, and there's life in other places. Why Earth? There's what is called the cosmic plan, and we're in the middle of it. So all these beings, higher beings, they say we're vibrating on the third dimension, 3.3 to be exact. But we can elevate it if we want to. There's procedures to do that. So these beings are vibrating on the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and beyond vibration. So if we want to see them, we need to prepare ourselves. And when there's an encounter, if you are vibrating higher, you can see them because you can bring your vibe to 3.5, let's say, and they lower theirs, and there you can see them. So basically, there's exercises that we do. It could be like a simple prayer, a chant, a meditation, fasting. Sometimes when you fast, you are more apt to see them. Why? Because you're less dense. Every time we eat, we become too dense. But when we start fasting, there's procedures. I mean, it's not that you're going to go hungry and faint. No, there's a preparation for this. We eat fruit one whole day, and then the next day is much more easier to go on without eating. Anyways, to summarize, I've been to Chilca many times. I've seen them more than once. But if you prepare yourself, you can have this experience yourself. This is for everybody. This is not a religion. It's a philosophy of faith, no religion. We have had people from, Jewish, Christian, atheist, whatever you want to call it. And if you want to believe, you want to know what really happened is all those beings in the universe became too mental. And by becoming too mental, they forgot feelings. So they need to recover feelings, remember feelings through us. Understand? So basically, it doesn't matter if we're less evolutionized than what they are, but they can help us and we can help them. We need to reach the fourth dimension according to them and also other people who knew about this stuff, like the Mayans. Earth is mutating right now. That's why instead of cooling down, if it's like a little star cooling down, we should be having less earthquakes, less volcanoes going off. We're having more. Why? Because Earth is mutating. Every 26,000 years, this happens. So basically, that's why we're seeing this. Earth has gone to the fourth dimension on December 21st of 2012. Basically, everybody thought it was the end of the world, Hollywood. No. It was Earth have gone up a notch. So we're gonna die eventually. These beings believe in life after death, but if we want to stay here in a more evolutionized world, because it's already vibrating in fourth dimension, we got to reach that fourth dimension. How? There's some procedures. We have like a 24 practices, and we teach that, so we're better prepared when there's a meeting, outing. We see them, but we know what to do. There's initiations that we also have, and it's open for everybody. But to utilize this to the best, we need to read and understand what we're really going after.
So what kind of engineer? Your father was an engineer?
He was an industrial engineer, correct?
So what kind of people did he work for?
He worked for an American company, Cerro de Pasco Corporation, Centromin later on. Now it's something else, but he was an American company, and this was in the middle of the Peruvian mountains, a place called La Oroya. And I happened to be there, and I went to school. My teachers, more than one, were Americans. And that's where he met my mom. And they got married, and he spent like 15 years in La Oroya. I only spent there like 5 years, and then we went to Lima, and then we came over here.
So so it sounds like you had all kinds of experiences besides aliens. So go to the very first experience you had of any kind that was unusual, paranormal, aliens, anything that you think.
Most unusual well, the most unusual is when I was with Rhama in outings. I was in Uruguay. I think it was in 06.
Uruguay?
Uruguay, yeah, Punta Colorada. Next to Punta Colorada, Uruguay, it's Punta Colorada, actually. I don't know if you know Punta del Este. Do you know Uruguay?
I don't know anything.
Okay, South America,
Uruguay.
Uruguay.
12-year-old. I've never been out of the United States.
Okay, Uruguay is a country between Brazil and Argentina.
Okay.
And we had an outing, so we went there by the beach, and one of the initiations that I asked Sixto that I wanted to go through, it was not supposed to be this way, but I requested it, and he allowed it. We had what was called Xendras, which is a luminic dome that it opens up as a portal. And when the portal opens up, you can cross it. And once you cross it, it elevates your frequency immediately. And depending on your preparation, you would, there's like 3 different Xendras with an X. The first and second are more personal and more physical experiences. Sixto was taken to a UFO craft back in '74 with the Xendra. You can see more of this stuff in his books as well. Anyways, when I went through this Xendra, which was a Himbra is for 12 people. They go in at once. You can experience a very spiritual experience. Is what it is. Is after that Xendra, when I crossed it, we all have a cosmic name. You have a cosmic name. Everybody has a cosmic name. What it is and what it's for. It makes you remember about your past lives, for example. And so if we have lived many lives, it is unfair not to know, not to remember what you did in a past life. But I mean, wait a minute. How can we live, knowing that so-and-so did this and this to me? I probably can look for him and kill him. There is a preparation for all this, that you can use only whatever is going to make you a better person from your past life. And through your cosmic name, you can remember that and much more. So there's ways and exercises for you to know what your cosmic name is. That cosmic name is only good for you. It's got 2 syllables at least. And you just mentalize it when you wake up, spoken in the afternoon mentally. And it's got a different purpose, like I said. The ending of it means where you're from. You can know that you're probably from whatever, Orion or X, Y, and Z universe. You can find that out through your cosmic name. Like I said, everybody has a cosmic name. That's only one example of after you cross that Xendra, you can have different abilities. In my case specifically, I started channelizing messages from these beings. So specifically when I left the outing, just going back to the bus, going back to Montevideo, Uruguay, I felt the urge to start writing. And I wrote a message from a guy called Culva. That was my first message that I got back in that retreat. That's only one of the experiences you go through with the Xendra. There's other experiences that you can also go through, depending on your preparation and what you're looking for. They know you better than what you know yourself, to be honest. And we have a purpose in life, and we just need to accomplish it. You know, why you're here, why you're touching this subject, because I like it, and you want to be better than what you were yesterday, let's say. But that's only one example I'm just giving you about, this kind of experiences I had.
So when that very first time you went passed through the Xendra portal,
Hmm.
pretend for a moment that you're back in that moment.
Hmm.
What did you see and exactly how did it play out?
Okay, there's a process, okay, because I've taken myself also people to Xendras, okay, and what you got to do, this is what I tell them in the ear. I put them on the Xendra and I tell them, mantralize your cosmic name until you feel you should not. So just mentalize it nonstop, nonstop, nonstop. Like mine is Arakam, 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 nonstop. And then when you feel you can stop, just stop and just go with the flow. Let's see what happens. If you're prepared, you can meet a guide and he can probably take you to wherever, depending. Usually the Sendra for 14 people, for 12 people is more spiritual. So that it brings your vibration up totally. Now you can keep it up or you can lose it depending on your behavior, depending on what you think, what you eat, many, many things. So you have to have you got to be careful on what you do because these crystals these beings also give us one of the initiations they call the session crystals. They're like in the pyramidal crystals and they land in your hand and you put them in the chest and it dissolves and it's in your chest. And with those crystals, what you do, you can irradiate the purple or the violet light that is coming with more strength from the central of the galaxy, from M31 Andromeda. So that violet light, which we recently found out about through NASA 2-3 years ago, we knew this since 1974, that violet light does everything for the good. If you just think about this, you have the crystals in your chest, and what you do is you can just think, pray, meditate, and just point at whatever situation, occasion that you want to change for the good. You can use your crystals with the beam of light coming from Andromeda, reflecting through our sun, and you can just direct it through your own crystals. I mean, you can do it even without putting your hand like this, but we do it like this just to change the situation from bad to good. That's only one simple example I'm giving you. There's many colors, many purposes. The green is for the health. The light blue is for the chakravichuda, for the speech, and so forth. The golden one is for knowledge, and et cetera, et cetera. All the stars out there, all the planets have different colors. It's not black and white. So every color they're emitting, all the time noises and we have to also understand that the comets or asteroids, they are like sperms fertilizing worlds. If you just think about this, the same thing as the microcosm is in the macrocosm. So they just found out with the Rosetta not long ago, landing on one of these comets, that it's got the dust inside is in organic molecules, pure life. So everywhere is just you find life. There are worlds that have water. There are planets that have 100% water. Even our moon has maybe more water than what we have it, but it's only in the subsoil. The place where Sixto went in Ganymede also has water, but in the subsoil. So if we find about this stuff, you understand why all this, water is life. So we need to start thinking, what do I do with this? If Earth is mutating and you want to start here or stay here on Earth, all you need to do is reach that fourth dimension. How? There's different ways. Meditating is a very perfect way to do these things. Also, we have, like I said, 24 practices, and we do practice those before the outing, because if not, we're going to be more like an obstacle to the contact, and we want to be one entity vibrating higher so we can make things happen. Because there has been outings where instead of having only session crystals and Xendras, there were only of the session crystals. The Xendras never happen because for that we all need to be vibrating, together at a certain level so things can happen. I don't want to get off the subject. Do you have any questions?
So, yeah, okay, you sort of went off into explaining things from like a higher level, looking down on all the different things that are necessary to get to 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 get where you want to go. As far as making changes, positive changes in the world. I understand that from the higher level. I mean, not saying I understand, but I understand what you're saying. You're giving that perspective from a higher level, looking down upon. Well, you do this, or you can do this. You're kind of telling us what you can and cannot do, but you didn't really go into what happened on that day. You didn't recall it. Can you actually recall it as if you were like going through that experience right in this moment, so I can like vicariously live what happened with you that first time?
When you go to a Xendra and you mentalize your name, your cosmic name, many things are going to happen and going to go through your mind.
Well, what happened to you that day, that one time, that first time, different from all the other times that you've done it? What happened on that day for you?
My whole life goes very fast through your eyes, and it's like, what are you doing here?
So you had a life review.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, and
Go ahead.
basically, sometimes it's not easy. You need to go through meditation to remember everything that you went through. Um, we were inside the Xendra for probably 1 minute, maybe two, but it felt more. It was winter. I remember dropping my glove. We were almost touching the water on the beach, and I picked it up and I kept mentalizing my cosmic name, and I let myself go. And then after that, it was my turn to, you know, back up the different other groups. I did not feel too much more after that. I thought until I get into the bus and started having the need to writing messages. So some people were taken to a craft nearby. Two girls, young girls, they were taken to the craft. So everybody has different experiences, and some people can see the guide. You can see Kulva, you can see other guides, and they can take you places. But depending on how prepared, how mature you are, they will, take you places. Many times they do stuff and on the astral body because sometimes every traumatic experience you tend to forget. But right now, the most stuff I remember is that every time you were in a Sendra, you felt dizzy. The same thing in Colombia when I was in Medellin. You felt so dizzy and you want to faint, you want to fall down because it totally changes your vibration. So in both places, I felt dizzy, more so in Colombia than in Uruguay. But and that happens all the time. You feel different ways, but being dizzy is one perfect way of putting it. They can disintegrate all your molecules and transport you somewhere else if they wanted to. But depending on how prepared you are and what are you going to do and what's expected of you, that also depends on what kind of sendra you're in. I was in a himbra, the sendra called himbra, which is specifically for 12 people.
So you have all kinds of different types of Xendras.
There's three sendras, correct. The first two are more personal sendras. They're more like a guide or two can be waiting for you inside, and they'll take you to places like what happened to Sixto in Chile. Um, I don't know how much you read about Sixto or not, but he had a great experience when he was in Chile. Um, he was taken to meet Jesus, and he was there in Coquimbo in Chile, and he thought the experience was for the other people, and the experience was for him. He was taken into this sendra, and Mardox, which is this guy, he told him to come over here, wait over there, and they had like a little device like a basketball. It would come to you. I guess they would look at him, and there was a being far out, maybe 100 meters, and he describes how the being was, and it was Jesus. And then when he saw that he allowed him to come forward, he went there and he had a conversation with him. So I was so impressed when he had that conversation with him, and everything about that conversation is in his books, you know.
So where did Pat, where, based on your understanding, where did Pastor, what is his full name?
Sixto Paz.
Sixto Pass. Okay,
Yes.
where did Sixto Pass, where did he, how did he get, do you know anything about, how did he get started? How did he get, at his very beginning, when he got connected to the Apunian, do you know how he got started, his very first experience, whether they came to him, whether somebody taught him here and then he learned
Well,
that?
his dad was already investigating the UFO phenomena when he was in the Air Force,
Right.
but the dad was already doing this in a more scientific note, you know, statistics, mathematical. But he was already, like I said, practicing Hatha yoga and mantra yoga meditation 2 years prior. So he said when he went to this meeting with his dad took him to one of the meetings. I said, okay, I'll go, whatever. He would accept the extraterrestrials as a matter of, you know, common sense, whatnot. But when he went to this meeting, a doctor called Victor Yanez Aguirre spoke about noises in space, saying that, you know, space is not quiet, like I said, and there's a lot of noises. And maybe if somebody wants to communicate with us, all we got to do is predispose ourselves. Since he was already practicing Hatha yoga and mantra yoga meditation, he went back home running to tell his sister and his mom, Mom, look what I just learned in this meeting that I went with Dad. Noises in space. Let's go ahead and see if we can channelize a message. And the three of them in the living room, they put 3 pieces of paper and a pencil and started meditating for 15, 20 minutes until Sixto felt the urge to write a message from Oxalc. And the mom and the sister also felt the same thing. They just didn't write it. So it was not really, you know, that you thought it was yourself. No, it was for real. And then all the friends came, the sister called them, and what it is, as Sixto said, just to prove you that this is not true, we can have this experience again tomorrow. So everything happened again tomorrow. And all the kids, they were kids, asked them if they know what kind of team I'm from. You know, I don't know, like the Redskins or Dallas Cowboys. All the messages were correct. Everything was legitimate, correct. And one of the moms who was there, very reluctant, said to Sixto, if you communicate with these beings, why don't you ask them what kind of book I have in my purse? Sixto told her and everybody else, not only the book, the title, but also the bookmark page where it was at. Just to let you know how the messages started coming to Sixto from Oxalc to Sixto since then. And then they asked them, the brother says, okay, if it's a real ET, ask them where can we see him? And that's when experiences happen, you know. Go to the desert on Chilca, 60 kilometers south of Lima, and you will see us there. You will see our ship.
And so, how many times have you been in a Xendra so far?
3.
Okay, and you said there were 3 different types of Xendras. There were 2 personal ones and 1 group one type of Xendra?
Yeah, the 1 and 2 are very personal. The third one is more like the more spiritual one. All the Xendras changes your life, because if you we're doing this to serve people, to do better.
Right.
And like I said, I started channelizing, you know. But if you don't keep your life accordingly, then what happens is like a double-sworded knife. Then you're going to start getting mentalism. Was that a message? Because every message you get is legitimate if they show up in the sky. So I can write a paragraph or two or three, and it's from Culva or Sampiac or whomever, and they'll tell you, you can see us tomorrow night at 11 in such and such a place. And you go and they show up. That means the message is legitimate, you know? So that's just to give you an example how we prove that the messages are legitimate.
So you've been through 3 Xendras.
Yes.
Were they, what type of Xendras did you go through?
There were Himbras. There were
I mean,
Himbras.
which is the first
The one
2, the third one?
12. No. The first 2 are more personal ones. You have to be really prepared for what you ask. I mean, I was blessed enough to be part of them. Some people call them portals, and some of them can be so strong that it could dematerialize all your cells and send you somewhere else in a matter of seconds.
Right.
So Sixto was taken to the ship like that more than once.
So all 3 of your Xendras were group Xendras.
There were Himbra Sendras, that is correct.
Can you spell it?
Himbra with a G. G as in group. G-I, M as in mom, B as in boy, R-A.
So you pronounce it as if it's an H.
We say Himbra. Well, in Spanish, we say Himbra.
That's
Himbra or
fine. I'm just, I'm is nothing, no judgment here. Okay, I'm just trying to get it down. So you had 3 Hemras so far, right?
yes.
Okay, and the first one, you had an experience where you felt the dizziness, and you didn't have a huge amount of actual experience beyond that, other than you started channeling, you started getting messages, correct? When you got in the bus.
Correct. And also the one in Colombia also was a strong one because I was really fainting. That didn't happen to me in Uruguay. In Uruguay, I just felt the need to write. But in order for you to know and learn what did you receive, because I asked Sixto, and he did say to me, you must have received something very important. You need to meditate. You need to look into that. Because in Colombia, in Medellin, I was literally really falling down. So, different portals. When I was in Nazca, in Chilca, I didn't feel as dizzy as I did in Colombia. So every sender has a different experience, depending on how your life is. What I guess they would know better.
So your first Xendra, you felt dizzy, and you noticed a change in who you were, and then you started getting the messages. Your second Xendra was the one in Medellin?
Medellin, Colombia, correct.
Okay, and take us through that Xendra, your experience.
That is where I felt really dizzy. I went into the Xendra. I also channelized messages after that. But the stuff that I really remember in that particular Xendra is how dizzy I got. So probably unconsciously, they probably took me to a ship. I don't know. There may have been. I need to meditate into this for some more. And the ones in Chilca, I kind of interacted with them because
That's your third one, the one in Chilca.
Because then I was too tired. It was like 4 a.m. or something like that, and you get lost after a while. I don't know the Chilca Desert as much as they do. I wanted to go to my tent and rest for an hour or so, or for a little bit. And the ship saw that we were lost. I was with this lady who also wanted to go rest. We were in the middle of the dunes, and the ship showed up in the sky and started doing this, like that, pointing towards where my tent was.
Trying to help you get back to your tent. Trying to help you get back to your tent. They were trying to help.
Yes, helping me go back to my tent.
Okay.
So that was a nice experience. You see them like nothing, like every day in Chilca mostly. Is so many of them. But I felt good, feeling support from them, feeling that I'm not alone. They're backing you. They know you're tired, so that made me feel good. That interaction that we had back then.
So let me see if I get this straight. You felt dizziness, you felt your being changed spiritually, and you started channeling messages or receiving messages in the first one. And the second one in Medellin, you got dizzy and you what happened beyond you got dizzy on the second?
I did get
Well,
messages. Yes, yes. But the dizziness was felt much more in Medellin than in Punta Colorada. Now Punta Colorada was winter, okay? It did not feel as cold as they usually have it during their winter. But in Medellin was more like a spring like. It was not cold at all. But the Xendra showed up, where they told us it was going to show, and we all went through him. It was only about 30 of us, not too many people. In Punta Colorada, it was like 300 of us, so it was a lot of people.
So when you see of the 3 times you've seen a Xendra, I first, I guess the first video I ever saw was with Grant, was one of Grant Cameron's videos, and he has a picture that he shows looking out over the water, and you see the the Xendra or the cloud or whatever you want to call it as a almost like a rainbow over the water. And it's not colored, but it's an arc of cloud over the water. And so the 3 times you've seen Xendras, what did they look like to you when you first saw them?
You can Google this. In Uruguay, the big Xendra was on top of the ocean at first. It was so big. Even the helicopters came from Montevideo, thinking, what is this, But while we were meditating and doing our work all through the week, through the weekend, uh, in this occasion, the whole Xendra covered us. It went over us, and it covered the whole group.
It was great.
And yeah, it was. It's great when you see it there in the ocean, but when you're meditating and working and this, you're not paying too much attention to that. Before you know it, the Xendra went all over us, and believe it or not, it was 300 of us. And then we had Xendras individually for all of us throughout the whole night. So the main Xendra, because there was a main Xendra for a group of 12 girls, 12 ladies, it happened the next day at 7 in the morning. So we were going through Xendras the whole night. The whole night. You probably 5-10 minutes in the Xendra, but it's 300 of us. So, and we're meditating, we're mentalizing, we're putting our hands like this. It's not easy, but we need to be as one, and back them up, and the main Xendra was done the next day.
So the Xendra, you're talking about your second Xendra or your first, the one you're talking about just?
The one in Uruguay, in Montevideo, in Punta Colorada.
Which number was that for you? Number one? First one.
Yes.
Okay, so there were 300 people there, right?
It was 300 of us, correct.
Okay, but the first Xendra for all 300 of you was not the primary Xendra. The primary Xendra was for just the 12 people, right? The next morning?
Well, the Xendras, all of them are important. I mean, depending if it's not as personal,
I'm using your words. I'm not trying to characterize. I'm using your words. You said something about like the primary or the main Xendra or
But there's 3 Xendras. The one and the second is like more personal, more like a one-on-one. You go in, and Oxalca is there or Sampiac is there, and he'll take you to places, whatever you can't see very well at first. And then when the light goes down, then you can start seeing. You can see even sometimes with your eyes closed. But the Himbra is for 12 people. And it's not that it's less important. It's what they think we need at that point in our lives, pretty much.
So are you saying that there was one Xendra for 300 people most of the night and then another Xendra for 12 people the next day, correct?
That is correct. Yes. Even though it was a Himbra as well, but it was through messages that we channelized. The main purpose, the main Xendra was for these 12 ladies at the end. Me asking Sixto to please, I want to have experience of a Xendra. He made us all go through the Xendra. Okay. And we had such a great experience that we ended up chanting and hugging him and everything in the middle of the beach, at 3, 4 in the morning. It's quite an experience. It's an experience out of this world. And we all went through it. Everything happened, not like the one in Spain. In Spain, we were supposed to have Sandras, and we didn't. We need to look at the mistakes we make so we don't do them next time. Same thing when we went to New York, or we were in California, or we were in other places. We need to learn from our mistakes so we don't waste our time and their time, basically, because these are such a special moments. You don't want to waste the time of them or us. Every minute, every second is so important nowadays.
So you've seen or before I start getting off into the opinions, take us through your third Xendra that you went through.
That's the one in Chilca where the UFO was showing me how to go back to my tent.
Ah, okay.
That's the one in Chilca, correct. And then I was also in Chilca not long ago for the anniversary of the first communication. We had another outing, and we had also a physical encounter there with Antarel. And so every outing is special, not only because there is a Xendra or no Xendra. Sometimes there is physical contact. Sometimes there is other experiences as well. And you may receive, if it's not your session crystals or your cosmic name, some of them are given. Is another crystal that you receive, which is called Cristico, like Christic, or it's like opening your third eye, but it's not that, and you can kind of see in advance the time with this special crystal. It's called the third crystal, and that also prepares you for other things. And I also learned about another crystal that they started giving not long ago that connects one with the other, pretty much like connecting your heart with what you do. Right now we're separated. It's like uniting those two things. That's the other crystal that they started doing not long ago. I'm sorry, I'm confusing if I'm going off the tangent.
No,
but
you're not confusing at all. I'm just trying to formulate my next question. I don't want to be irrelevant or waste your time. It seems like you're telling me everything correctly as your experience, and I'm just trying to go, well, what should I ask him next? And so, okay, so during all your experiences, have you personally encountered the Apunia on the ground where you got close to one of the Apunia, as opposed to seeing them in a craft or at a distance? Have you had a close-up encounter with any of the Apunia that you speak of?
I have not gone into the ship.
No, I didn't say you had gone on the ship. I just mean in any fashion. Even like out in the open or anything.
You want to know the truth? They came down so close to my car, like I would say 5 days ago, backing me up on what I'm doing right now.
Right.
So I was in the middle of the traffic. I don't think nobody else saw it. It was only me. I don't know.
Stop. Where were you when this happened? Where
in
were
a highway in Virginia, not far away from DC.
Tell me where. I know Virginia. Where were you?
I was going into a highway. I don't know if it was Leesboro Pike or I was close to Seven Corners.
Which direction were you going? North, south, east, west?
I was going to meet my son who lives in Centerville.
But I mean, which direction were you going? North, south?
I was going from east to west because I take 66 to go to Centerville.
Okay, so you were going from...
And I'm in Hyattsville right now.
You were going west out of DC.
Correct, because right now I'm in Hyattsville, Maryland, close to the University of Maryland, and go to meet him. He's in Centerville. So somehow you got to hop into 66. and I was not there yet, but on my way there from DC to Virginia, but I was in Virginia going into the traffic light, and as I was going in,
Do you
the
know
ship,
what city, what do you know what highway you were on when this happened?
I could find out. It was,
Oh, it's not this. If you don't know off the top of your head, that's fine. I'm just wondering if you
it,
know. Or you
it
don't.
was Fairfax.
So you were in Fairfax. You were heading towards 66, or you're already on 66.
And no, I was not there yet. I was getting into the highway,
So you're
so
going towards 66
I was going towards 66.
in
And
Fairfax.
correct, I was going into the main avenue, and as I was stopped because of the traffic, the the everything okay?
No, everything's fine. I'm just changing the direction of my fan. I'm a little hot.
Where are you?
I am. Okay, so the
Are you?
busiest airport in the world is what?
Oh, you're in Chicago?
No. The busiest airport on earth. Where is it at?
It's not O'Hare. Oh, don't tell me. Are you like on Asia?
No. The busiest airport in the world is Atlanta.
Oh, I heard that. I
Yeah,
heard that. Busier than the O'Hare?
yeah. The busiest airport in the world is Atlanta.
So you're in Georgia. Okay. Anyways,
30
I was
minutes, 30 minutes north of Atlanta in clear traffic. Go ahead.
yeah, I was there almost right by before the Olympics in Georgia in Atlanta. Anyways, where I was at,
You
I was
were
getting
having
back.
your encounter.
I was going. Think of it as Six to allow me to translate all his videos and put them into English. So I'm doing that, and my son sometimes I do need the other person to be the person who asks the questions. So my son is helping me through this. So I'm doing all this. I'm translating, doing this, doing that, and then when I need his input, I go meet him at his house, and then he'll read the questions, and then here I have a program, and I put it in there, and I do send the videos to some of my friends. Some other friends that I do have in English, they like the subject. And I was doing the third one almost. And when I was going to his house, just getting into the highway, that big UFO, which I was not sure they were so modern. It looked so shiny, and it looked at me, it pointed his lights towards me, wanted to make sure that I can see them, and I saw them, and obviously I went to home and I chatted with Sixto, and Sixto confirmed to me that yes, it was them.
What time of day was this?
It was daylight. It
Okay.
was
Is it late afternoon, early afternoon?
like 5ish.
Five-ish.
It was
Okay.
rush hour traffic. Yeah,
Okay. And you were heading
I'm heading
from
west.
DC going west towards 66 in Fairfax, and uh, describe, put yourself for a moment in that moment as if you're driving down the freeway right now. How far away was the craft? What was the craft's position in relation to you? Take me through it as if I was there in that moment, if you can.
I saw the ship very close to me.
Was it
I could.
above or farther out? Was it high, low? Was it near towards the sun, or just give us try and remember every moment of that.
This is the closest I've seen a ship. To let you know. Okay,
Uh-huh.
I could almost see the doors. I mean, the ship was so close. And I've read many times about the cylindrical UFOs. There's like 60 or 50 different kinds of UFOs. This one I've read also about them, but I did not know they were going to be so new looking, so shiny. It was like, I don't know, it seemed like 500 meters above me, if not more, but it was not too far. And I'm like, are they pointing their lights at me? I was like, I can't believe this, and it looked like a brand new car, but like a brand new UFO. And I'm like,
What color? Silver?
silver and kind of bluish a little bit. And I saw their lights pointing at me, specifically at me. I did not want to think it was on my minds playing tricks on me. So I went home after I talked to Sixto. I talked to him in his WhatsApp, and Sixto confirmed to me that, yeah, it was them.
How
It's time to
far?
work, brother.
How far do you think it was from you when you first saw it?
I don't want to be mistaken. I could
No,
say
it
a
doesn't
thousand.
matter. There's no correct or incorrect.
500, but 500 to 1,000 meters. I don't know. Maybe less. I don't know.
Was it more above you or more out in front of you?
It was diagonally. I
If you
was
put if you put your hand out in front of you, what angle is your hand to the ground?
like that.
45-degree angle?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it was kind of almost
Kind of
above
like
you, but it's out in front of you.
you can see that they position themselves so you can see them. So they look for my eye pretty much. And when I saw that, and the first thing I did is I talked to Sixto, and Sixto replied to me the same day. It's time to work, brother. That's what he said
Which
to me.
what shape was the craft?
Cylindrical. Cylindrical. It's not like the oval shape that we're used to seeing, No, it's like cylindrical, like more like aerodynamic, if you will. It was more cylindrical.
But
It
I
was
mean,
not like
was it
hmm?
like a tube, or was it like a ball, or was it like a?
um,
Give me a shape that of something. When you say cylindrical, that could be like. To me, a cylinder is like a just like a long tube, but but your idea of a cylinder might be totally not that at all. What describe something around you that's around you now that is basically that same shape or similar.
okay, I'm seeing a lot of cylindricals here, but I don't think none of these. Let me see.
When you say a cylinder, you mean like a tube, like your
No, no,
straw?
it's not the UFO that everybody's used to seeing. Very, very, very close, by the way. So
Is it like a
is it like a
ball?
ball? Not like a ball, no. Same thing as the UFO shape, but it was more like aerodynamic, more curvy, shiny, new looking. Um,
But okay, so if you saw it, like let's say you were standing right next to the thing, it's like 10 feet from you.
yeah,
How big do you think it would be? Would it be big enough to like a house or 10 houses or was how big do you think it was?
it was more. It was bigger than a house. It was bigger than a house, depending what kind of house. But
Very big house, huge house.
right. I mean, I don't want to. I don't have your email or whatever, but I can. I have one that could be like that, but I don't want to give you the wrong impression of exactly what I saw. It was cylindrical, and it was. I don't know. You cannot see my window, can you? You cannot see my window, my screen,
Computer?
can you?
No, no.
Um, I'm seeing one that could be like that, but it was more round shape. This one ends up at the middle, and then it flattens out. But
Is it thicker in the middle?
it's not the one I'm seeing here. It goes like this, and then goes flat. It was like rounded.
Okay, so it's flat on the bottom and rounded on the edges and
It
top.
was, it was rounded, yeah. And this is exactly about the ones I do see in their messages when they do say cylindrical.
Did the bottom look like the top, or was the top bottom more flattened and the top was
Yes, yes. It was. They look the same, but it was
like a
cylindrical.
blob, like
Yes, yes,
like
yes.
almost like a balloon, a flattened balloon?
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah, but it was an experience. This just happened, okay, just a few days ago. So obviously I do talk to Sixto because I guess he's the only person that you can believe when you do see something, and he was aware of this.
Well,
You know.
that's not true. So, okay, so um, if you put your arm out and you tried to block out the craft, it's with your hand or your arm. Would you take your whole hand to block it out? Or was it that close, or would you block it out with your thumb, or how big was it? Like was it like a quarter, half dollar, full dollar, a basketball? How if you hold your arm out, how much mass has to be in front of you at the end of your hand to block out the size of the craft when you saw it? Twice the size of your hand, half the size, quarter size, your thumb maybe.
Maybe 80% or 70% of my hand.
So it was really close.
It was close. Yeah, I'm not a pilot, but I can tell you it was close. It was close. I saw the shiny, how shiny it was, and I was surprised, because when I asked Sixto, this happened to me, and because they're backing up what I was doing at the time, which is the recordings, and Sixto was already aware of this, so he told me, you got to keep working. So that's what I'm in the middle of. I enjoy. I've been to many outings. I've been to with many people, but if I'm here, it's for a reason. If I speak the language, it's for a reason. So, like the previous gentleman I talked to earlier today, he had many, many questions, but at the same time, I cannot take everything. Maybe you have questions as well. I don't want to go off the tangent. Maybe, because there's so much to cover, I mean, the cosmic plan, the feelings, why are they coming? Is everybody good? What are the intentions? Who do we communicate with? How do you trust them? All these questions have been answered already. And the ones we talk are 49 guides, and they are the only ones we are in touch with. There are many more as well, but there are also people that come with bad intentions. But Earth is being guarded from these people. So there are beings that guard Earth for beings not coming to harm us. But they tell us that the problem is already here on Earth. So don't worry too much about that because they're covering that. But the bad is already here within us on our own planet.
So the Apunians are the only aliens that you are directly in contact with, yes?
Not necessarily. It
Okay,
could
so
be.
what aliens do you have personal contact with other than the Apunians?
Um, there's a total of 49.
Different
Okay.
races?
No, 49 beings. We know them by name.
But they're all Apunians, yes or no?
No, I don't think so. There are from different places.
Ah,
Um,
so the
yeah,
Apunians are only one of the races of the.
correct. So many of them right now are watching us. Most of them, or some of them, are watching us from Ganymede, which was one of the moons in Jupiter, to be closer to us, and they are looking at us from different places. Under the ocean, they have bases as well. Um, they communicate also with people in Paititi, which is in the tropical forest of Peru, in the state called Madre de Dios, Mother of God. There, they have a place. It's like Virgin. Nobody can go there unless you're invited. If you're not invited, you ought not to go because everything will close up on you. The rivers will turn out wild. The animals would, be there. So it'll be torrential rains. But if you go invited, everything opens up. Animals are gone. The weather turns out okay.
Where is this?
So
Where?
Paititi.
I,
Paititi. This is an estate called Mother of God next to Brazil, Peru, and north of Cusco.
it's still Peru. It's still in Peru.
It is Peru. That is correct.
Okay. So all right. The 49 got. These are your guides. The 49 beings.
Those are yes, that is correct. We do we have had contact with many of them. We know that it's 49, and not that we like Ashtar Sharan. Let me just say something.
Take your time.
No, I'm just what I'm thinking here. We asked them everything. Does everybody have a guide? Do we have angels? Like for example, AEB, AEB. This guide is from Apu. Then we have Amaru. This guide is from Venus, and many of them are from Apu, from Venus, from Morlin. Morlin is the moon in Jupiter. Um,
So you have a website that has all your guides on it.
yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Venus, Apus, Venus, Apus.
So you have my email address.
No, if you give it to me, I can forward this to you. It's in Spanish, but the names you can read them. Actually,
I can get it translated. So, uh,
okay.
my email address is charles.beaver.
Give me a second. Charles. That Beaver as in Beaver.
Yeah, like the animal.
Okay, at
Comcast.net.
okay. I just sent you that.
Okay, and so have you ever sat down and looked at the 49 different guides you have and said, well, we have X number from Apu and X number from, you know, do you ever try to say, well, we got more from this race and more less from this race, and kind of, you know what I'm saying? Do you how many different races do your gods come from? How many are there within the 49? How many different races does that represent? Apunians plus others. Do you know how many that is? How many total races that they're represented within the 49?
Haven't really looked into that, but it's kind of like about the same. Um,
Well,
Many of them from Apu or Morlin, but meaning they're from Morlin, that doesn't mean they're from there. They're stationed there, but maybe they're from somewhere else. Morlin because it's closest to us. But for example, Oxmalk, he's a doctor, okay, a mental instructor. He is specifically, I know there's a UFO called Columo. And Columo is like a hospital UFO that is surrounding the Earth all the time. And if you have the ability, you can even think of somebody who's sick and just project them only with your mind through Columo. In Columo, they have a body of stone, and you just think about that person and transport it only with your mental, with your thinking, into that stone, that sculpture, and it's like laying down, and just leave the rest to them. Like I said, there's a couple of doctors, and I'm just looking at one of them right now. So Oxalc, I did not know, but he's also a mental doctor, good with telepathy, so and so forth. Oxmalk is another one. I'm seeing this. So basically, everybody has their functions. And for example, Sordas is a guy from Apu, and they're telling you specifically where in Peru are they located. They're in Huánuco, which is the mountains south of, in the mountains southeast of Lima. And he's in charge of the Venusians. That's what I can read here. Titinak, she's a female. She's also a doctor, and so forth.
So, okay, so, all right. I want to try to get some clarity on the type of aliens we're talking about, because Apunian means you come from Apu, but that doesn't describe, that's a location. Venusian describes you're coming from Venus, but none of these descriptions tell us what race, what type of creatures or aliens or beings we're referring to. That's location. That's not a type of being.
Correct. So, like Mardox, when Sixto met Mardox, he took Sixto to see Jesus. Mardox, I know from what Sixto wrote in his book, his skin is brownish. Oxalc, his eyes are slanted. So they are all different. Okay, I'm just telling you about Oxalc and how big they are. They're well fit. Some of them look like they're from Northern Europe, and some of them are like even 4 meters tall or 3 meters tall. So they're giants. So depending on who they are and where they come from, I did not delve too much into that, but I know they many of them look different. But Titinak is a female, I know that, and Anitak is also a female, and they're from Venus.
So there are a whole bunch of different races, is what you're saying.
That is correct. Many different races. There are 60 different denominations coming to Earth right now. 60. And they all come with their own intentions.
And okay. So you told me about your, okay, you told me about your three Xendras and your one encounter with the craft. But you have not had a close-up encounter with any of the creatures directly yourself. Is that correct?
I've saw them personally, me myself, in more than one outing
How
during
close?
meditation.
How close? In your mind's eye or
No, no,
physically?
no. Yeah, they were probably like 2, 3 meters away from me.
What's a meter? I don't even know
Uh,
what it is.
a meter, you can just touch your elbow and the point of your finger. That's a meter right there.
So they were like 9 feet from you,
Maybe,
ten
yeah,
feet.
or less.
And what you saw, what was it? Tell me, describe the being that you saw.
2 or 3 of the beings were looking at us. They were like on. They were like. They were like this. Like I am standing right now. They were standing up, and they were looking at us because they're between you. They're walking around you, and if you are vibrating high enough, you can see them. And they were like talking to each other mentally, and they were like this. One of them was like this. Like, I don't want to say they looked worried, but they were not. They were serious enough just to know they were checking our state, how we were on that occasion, on that retreat. I saw about 3 of them that close, and also this past one as well, close to Antarel. Many of them were there, but the main guide was Antarel, and he was also very close to us. I would say 2 meters, if not less.
Describe them. What did they look like? Tall, short, brown,
Yes,
what color?
yes, no, no, no.
What color, what size, what shape, what type of being were
I
they?
would say, yeah, about close to 2 meters tall, and
Two
like I
meters
said,
tall. How tall is that in feet?
Nordic. We're usually 180, 190. Our normal range of how tall we are. So
Are
they
you
could
talking
probably.
inches?
I'm sorry.
180 to 190 inches?
No, 180, a meter 80. Like, if okay, let's say we're talking in feet. Let's say 5'8", 5'9". That's
Okay.
me, for example. They probably are like 5'9", 5'10".
Okay. In color, size, shape,
6'6". Yes, yes, I do
color,
see. Sorry.
color.
When I saw them, you're meditating, so you kind of see them with the glare of your eye. These ones look kind of grayish, like gray.
Uh-huh.
Not that they're the gray aliens that people talk about, no, but that's how they looked to me when I was there.
Color. The color's correct.
Correct. So some of them have brown skin and whatnot. There's a multiple um, ways they look, um, but the ones that had the opportunity were like that. And also the one in Antarel, like a metallic suit, very tight to his body. He had like a medallion here on his chest, and he does gestures with his hands and talks to you mentally. And basically,
What color was he?
I don't want to say gray. This is like in the middle of the night, and to be
So
really,
it's hard to see him.
it's not easy because it's in the middle of the night. You can barely see your nose. I mean, you're there, everybody's meditating, and next thing you know, experiences do happen, and we go in groups. And
So it's hard to describe because it's so dark.
yeah, it is very dark.
So no wonder
And
you're having problems describing them because
yeah,
they're
yeah,
so
yeah.
dark.
It's basically, yeah, it is very dark. So it's like when we went with Sixta for an experience. I mean, you can barely see your nose, and it's like, yeah, they're coming, and it's like, okay, these people go through these things like very frequently. So just to be there is quite an experience. But this can be done anywhere. It just depends on your preparation, how prepared you are. That's what the experience that you have.
So when you saw them, it was almost like you saw them as much in your mind's eye as you did physical.
Yes, yes.
So how did you know they were even present around you? I mean, you're seeing them in your mind, right?
You see them. I could see them. You're meditating, and you barely you know,
But are your eyes closed or open when
yeah,
you meditate?
whether if it's open or closed, you can still see them. And it's like, I saw them, they look kind of serious when I saw them in Chilca, not this recent time, but before that.
Right.
And they were like checking us out. You know, it was like, okay, like looking at us and seeing, they look a little bit like serious, but that's how their job is. They're so responsible that they're looking at us and seeing our state. How are we doing that time? So that was the experience I had in that occasion. Yeah.
So do you think the guides that you've met so far, are they vibrating at a higher level and they're not fully physical, or are they fully physical but they're not physical? They're physical. How do I put this? They're physical, but they're vibrating at a level which is higher than our physical. It's physical, but it's not at our level. It's a different level of physical. How would you describe them? Like let's say I walk you into a schoolroom of first graders and you're talking about aliens at the level of a first grader. How would you describe them from the perspective of they're fully physical, they're more as in like a ghost, less physical, totally unphysical, semi-physical? You know what I'm saying? If they were sitting next to you right now, would you have to get into a particular mind state to even know they were there, or would they be obvious no matter what state you're in?
Every time we have an encounter, we try to vibrate as high as we can.
I know.
Okay, but that's part of your question or your answer. Why? Because right now, usually, we are vibrating at the 3.3 level, 3.3. But if we can bring that up a notch to 3.5, it's not easy, but it's doable. They bring theirs to 3.5, and there's contact. You understand? So if they don't bring their vibration down, they could be right in front of us and we don't see them. And yes, they are as physical as you and I are, okay? But they're vibrating higher. So in order to have contact, we can see a hologram or we can see them physically. It depends. All we got to do is our part. Vibrate higher. Before we go to an outing, there's a procedure. We try to eat just fruits, and then the day of, we don't eat anything. We just have water or tea or just soup. And because we need to be light, the more you eat, the denser you have, the denser you become. So the lighter you are, the more apt you are. And if you meditate on top of that, you can see further. You can see further. So, and then once you see him, you can interact with the guides. They're walking around you, and some people see them, some people don't. It's because of the preparation.
So they're as physical as we are, but they're vibrating at higher levels. So they have to decrease their vibrational level, and we have to increase ours, and then we meet in the middle.
Correct. And there's ways for you to increase your vibration. It could be through chants, mantras, praying, fasting. If you can do them all, do them all. You just need to be prepared for the outing because, usually we have an outing once a year. So we need to take advantage of that time so we can make good use of it. So the more you have is to share it with other people. So it's not only just to see them, is to get the experience to relay it, to share it to other people as well. Um, yes, the Xendras is magnificent. Every experience that you do have with them, it's incredible. Like I said, I was not expecting the UFO when they showed up almost in front of my car, and now I know why they did it and the purpose of it. So this gives me more, I want to do more of this because it really fills my days. I like doing this. I like to share this. Not many people are doing it in English, specifically from Rhama. Rhama is mainly a Spanish-speaking community. Yes, there's people who understand English, but they're not speaking up or they're not talking right now. I am happy to do so. And, if I can answer or explain better something, a question that you may have, I'll be happy to do so,
So since you've had 3 Xendras, does that mean you've been involved with Sixto for 3 years or longer or less?
No, longer. The first encounter I was with him is in 2004, and we probably met
16
our,
years. 16 years.
yeah, maybe more, because our names also end in He is Telelam, mine is Arakam. So we kind of like come from the same place, like from Atlanta, Georgia, let's say, you know. So your cosmic name has a meaning. It's got 2 syllables at least. So you got to find out, where you're from. All the are for the center of the galaxy. So sometimes he knows 10 and he also he tells you one, but you need to find out exactly the rest. I know he's a busy person. He's come here many times. He's been in my house at least 4 times, and we do take advantage as much as we can when he's here.
So in the 14 years you've been involved with Sixto and the 49 guides, uh, um, what other kinds of experiences have you had besides the 3 Xendras and the encounter with the craft? What other experiences have you
Um, it's very interesting to feel part of the action. In many retreats, I myself was in charge of taking people to the Xendras myself and making sure they go through their own process. I have placed the session crystals in people's chest. There's a procedure. How do you do that? You put first the right hand, then the left. It'll dissolve in your chest as soon as it touches the body, and it stays there in you. Now, the crystals are very important. If you have a bad behavior or whatnot, you can lose the crystals through the urine. So, that's also a double-sworded knife. You need to understand the importance of that initiation as well as the others. What is the purpose of it? Why do you have it? You even have to stop eating meat for the first 2-3 months to clean your body and keep those crystals, and then utilize them the best you can. Those are the
had? Where did the crystals come from?
The ship not far away. They say they're going to give him, and then um, there's a procedure. When that's going to happen and where that's going to happen. And then when that happens, we start putting the people who are going to go through the experience in the middle of a circle, facing out, and we're all surrounding them, facing and protecting them with our hands, and chanting mantras, trying to help them go through this initiation, and we feel as a group together.
So you're giving them energy?
In a way, yes. We give them energy and
channeling energy to them.
And then we're chanting mantras. There's different mantras that you do say in different occasions. I don't know if I was talking to this other gentleman earlier about this blind door that is next to Lake Titicaca called Aramumuru. It's a blind door, and it's right there in the middle of a rock. And
You're talking about the portal?
The portal, yeah. It's called Aramumuru. So people have gone through, but there's a special chance and send a mantra that you got to do many, many, many times to begin to think that you're apt to cross that door. Yoke one of the Incas, that said he left with the golden sun that was resting in Coricancha, almost 3 meters in diameter, very powerful sun. And knowing that the Spanish came, they were only looking after the gold. So what they did is they made a replica of that gold, and they left it there. So they took that real sun, which is still there in Paititi, in Madre de Dios. They took it through this door. There's 2 theories. One, this door, the other one, the door close to Coricancha tunnel. There's many tunnels. And they took it through that door to Paititi, which is in the tropical forest in Madre de Dios, almost next to Brazil, Bolivia, and Cusco. It's still there. Sixto has been, he's gone there more than once. And he's seen that, and is a very, very powerful sun. The whole Earth has gone to the 4th dimension in December 21st of 2012 through that sun. That's the main sun. There's 12 others called minor suns that are in other parts of the world, but the main one is there in Paititi.
When you say suns, I'm not sure.
Sun, S-U-N, sun.
I know. I understand what you're saying, but how does a sun at a location, how's that different from the sun everybody else sees?
It's a tool, and it's made with a special kind of gold that so pure that we don't even
So
find.
you're talking about a creation, like an object.
Is a tool, yes, and it resembles the sun, and it was resting usually in
How big is
Coricancha.
it? How big is it?
Not even 3 meters, but it's big. It's more than 2 meters in diameter. So maybe twice my size. Um, and it's made out of pure gold, almost translucent, so pure it is, but it's powerful, very powerful, to have been able to have crossed the whole planet along with these other 12 suns that are also in other parts of the world going through the fourth dimension. And that happened on the 21st of December of 2012.
So
So right
those
now,
these suns that you go ahead.
Earth is already in fourth dimension, but you and
Is
I
it?
are still in, yeah. So, but you and I are still in third. We're on 3.3 to be exact. And if there is life after death, we want to make sure we stay here. But in order to stay here, we need to reach that fourth dimension. What happens if we don't? Nothing. We'll just be born on another planet, third dimension again, but for another 26,000 years, which is the galactic year that the Mayans called. That's the cycle again. It has to wait until you have another chance to reach the fourth dimension. So this is a special time. Earth is mutating. People from other worlds are coming to Earth to take advantage of that specific jump that Earth is going to right now.
The suns, how many suns are there?
Well, there's many suns, but the important ones are the main one, which is the one in Madre de Dios in Paititi, the main one, and then 12 others that are in other places of the world, like in Uruguay or Colombia or Mount Sinai in Israel, many places.
But they're gold objects that look like the sun.
Yes, they are. Yes, but they're so pure. They're even our purest gold is not too pure as the gold of this specific sun. And there's also a special stone called Chintamani that even the gods fought for this stone. And one of the wars, the cosmic wars they had, was in outside of Lima, in this place. What was the name of it? This stone was placed in the middle of the sun to make it more powerful, since Earth was going through so many troubles going on right now. With North Korea and the Russians and China and the U.S. and this and that. Putting this Chintamani stone in the middle of the sun gave it an extra power to do what it's supposed to do. So one of our fellow friends who went to Paititi the last time, Sixto could not go there because he was hurt. He hurt his shoulder, but he went with 12 people. They were able to take this special Chintamani stone, which was in Ecuador, and place it in the middle of the sun, which is in Paititi, giving it this extra power, if you will.
So the suns are flat. Are they're flat and circular?
Yes, I would not say flat as a paper. It's just, I need to find out exactly how thick it is, but I know how powerful it is. And everything, even the bad guy has wanted to avoid Earth going to the fourth dimension. Many things happen as well. I don't want to get into that, but we made it happen. And indeed, Earth went to the fourth dimension on that day, the 21st of December of 2012, when everybody thought it was going to be the end of the world. That day.
So, if you went back to that day when the world went to the fourth dimension, what happened for you personally that day?
We probably didn't feel too much. The change is mostly for them than for us. We see all those changes going on right now that we think nothing's changing. We can even say that things are getting worse, but it's not true. The bad news travel fast, but there's a lot of good stuff as well. So we need to believe in these things to make it happen. So all about this virus, that's all you hear nowadays in the news. Like if people are not dying from cancer anymore or pancreas anymore, I mean everything continues the same. It's just too much of one thing to make us scared, to make us feel weak. That's what the bad guy wants, for us to be feeling like that, and we cannot give in because then we're falling into their game, his game. So basically, that's the little I can tell you, because right now all you hear is about this COVID-19 and nothing else. But he's utilizing his weapons the most he can because he knows time is running out for him. Okay, and basically that's all I can tell you. We need to be positive, stay positive. Things are going to be okay, and we just need to push forward and try to have that big encounter. But the encounter at the end of the days, we're going to find out that the real encounter that we needed to have was the encounter with ourselves, to know yourself. I went to this retreat in Uruguay to find out who I was, just to know me. So basically, we're too distracted looking outside, but we never look inside. When we start looking inside, things will start changing.
So I take it all of your experiences for 16 years, you've helped a lot of people to go through the Xendras and have their experiences and get their crystals and so forth. What if you were trying to make it very simple to somebody to explain the changes in you that have occurred over the 16 years? What would you say? You were probably a good, kind person when you got started, and you're a good, kind person now. But what has really changed about you that is different now than it was when you got started? If you can come up, if you can't think of anything, that's fine. If you just say I'm a better person, that's okay. But is there anything you can describe about yourself that is definitely very different from when you started?
You're taking the words out of my mouth. Yes, you do feel a better person, but more better person when you share this. Every time you share this with your friends, you feel even better. So it's so special because every time you share this information with other people who are thirsty, are willing to know more about this, and they did not know about this. Like when I found out the book of Sixto Paz, when I was like, wow, where was this? Same thing. And things are happening right now. Not to be wasting our time with whatever, football, COVID-19, whatever it is, we need to start paying attention to what we really need to pay attention. We see these big UFOs in Mexico going into the volcanoes like nothing. We see them over and over again. What's happening? We just need to start looking into these things and question ourselves. Am I supposed to do something? It makes me happy to help people awake their conscience. Once that happens, 1 out of 10 people, 1 out of 50, 1 out of 100, it doesn't matter. My job is done because that's what I feel the need of doing. Because I've been doing it, in Spanish for so long, and I'm like, wait a minute, I need to start doing this here because if I'm here with this great nation and we are going through so many issues right now, and I'm here in DC, why not? And that's what it really makes me a better person, a happier person when I start sharing this information, this knowledge to other people like yourself.
So you're familiar with all of the typical aliens, right? Like you've got the Greys, the reptilians, the whatever.
Yes,
You're familiar with all the different descriptions, right?
Not all of them, but I did hear about many of them. Of course, I'm more familiar with the guys from Rhama. Sometimes I don't really like spending too much time in things that are not productive for me, having too much things to do. Otherwise, do you have any specific question about this?
Well, what I'm trying to do is get you. Before I was trying to get you to describe what they look like, and you weren't terribly detailed because you're in a pitch dark room or outside. You can barely
But I
see
can,
your nose, and I can understand why you might have a really difficult, if not impossible, time describing them. But if most people understand what there's like 10, 50, 100 different types of grays. There's 6 different, 10 different, 20 different types of reptilian, on and on. There's all these different types of aliens, right? If you had to say the aliens that you have met, have seen personally, and you had to describe them as X or Y or Z, what general race that the average person would understand would you put them into?
okay, some of them, the ones we've been in contact with, uh, more than 2 meters tall. I would say 2 meters and a half, if not more. They're Nordic looking. The ones we've seen, Nordic,
Like when you say Nordic, you mean
from
like a regular
Sweden,
human?
or from Norway.
Ah, what? Light skin.
Yeah, light skin, tall. Like the hair is silvery looking, okay, touching their shoulders.
So
And the other,
are they Pleiadians?
they are also Pleiadians, yes. And also we've seen people from that are um, having their eyes slanted that could probably well be looking like a Korean,
Right.
or a Japanese, where their eyes slanted, like Oxalc. So what I'm trying to say, there's a whole variety. There's people
I'm
that
talking about
are,
the ones you saw, the ones you have personally seen.
yeah, the ones that is about 3 meters tall and the ones that are 2 meters tall, about my size, and then obviously the much higher. But also, let me tell you this: many of the beings who want to get in touch with us are the ones who look like us or who can make themselves appear like us. They're not necessarily the way you look at them, but
Right.
they can. You understand? So
Yeah.
because they know we judge by the appearance,
Right.
so they know that already. So oh, I know we've seen, Oxalca, and we've seen, Antarel, this, and that, and they're well built. They're like this, like that. But there's too many questions for them. Do you have a God? What do you do? Do you pray? I mean, there's so many questions that we have asked, and we have had answers to all those questions. And do we have to follow you? Are you like gods? Who sent you? Do you pray? Do you have a God? So many questions because this is stuff that they don't teach you at school. So we have been doing this since 1974, and we have been in touch with them since. And there's much more work to be done because I think they have been doing this since 74 in South America, specifically in Peru. So we need to transfer all that knowledge, all that, you know, here to this country. Why not in the US? Why not in, well, yes, they were here. They were by the Capitol back in 47, I think it was. They were in Roswell. They were trying to do something to us. That's why they got shot down. They got shut down in Roswell because of that, you know? And there's not only Roswell, there's many Roswells in the world. There's one in Colombia, there's one in Chile. You know, we are being guarded by them. We don't need to worry about them in the sky. We need to be worried about people here already. That's how I can summarize it.
So you're saying that some of the ones you've personally seen look like Nordics, and then
Yes.
some other ones look like what type?
Oriental.
Like Oriental.
Yes.
Oriental humans, Oriental what?
Oriental beings, like from Korea.
So they look human.
Yes. They have limbs, everything. Some of them are very tall. Let me tell you, when you have the experience and you see them coming out of their ship and it's like 4 meters tall or 3 meters tall, it's a gigantic, and the first thing is like, I mean, you feel scared, but then again, you're not alone, you know, you're in a group of people, but then again, we are afraid of the unknown. That's a human response.
Sure.
But and we've told them, hey, you look like us, and they respond to us, no, you look like us. See, so it's how we look at these things, and the conversations follow. You know what I'm saying? So we
So
need to learn from this.
so the other ships you've seen, besides the one you just described a while ago, What other types of ships have you seen personally?
The other ones were far away. When I crossed the first Xendras, I was here working. I work for the government, so I get a message. It's us, your brothers in mission, yada yada yada. Um, we're gonna be flying on your city. When you leave, you can see us at 11:45, midnight. I was working the late shift, so I went to Ashburn. I went to my balcony, and it was really 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 cold. So I didn't wait enough. That's the bad thing that I did that occasion. So when I turn around trying to go back in, when I pushed the sliding door to go in, I kind of saw something. And I was like, what? It can't be. And immediately I get something on my mind saying, you can see us again tomorrow. Immediately after that. So next day, exactly the same thing. I went there, I waited. It was really cold, and the ship showed up again in front of me, like a star. So, what do you do with that? You cannot stay still. You got to do something else. You got to look at, into this thing further, because they're waiting for, they cannot pass the exam for us. You see, they chose like 8 planets for this cosmic plan. We are the ones who are going to help them remember feelings again. But we don't need no coaching. We don't need nothing. They have done this before. That's why the other 8 planets, 2 or 3 were aborted because there were too much intervention by them. And these planets are special planets because they had to be planets like Earth with blue aura and with one sun, like us. Not all the worlds are like this. Very spiritual. Our Earth has a blue aura and has one sun. So they chose 2, 3 planets in this galaxy. Anyways, Earth was left at the end, and they chose Earth to be the one, the redeemer, so they can recover their feelings. What it is people from Orion didn't like this. There's like a Congress. They thought, okay, how are we going to recover feelings? Because we all got stuck. You're in the 6th, 7th, 8th dimension, but we cannot be better than what we are because we're stuck. We became too mental. So one of them say, okay, so let's one of us choose a planet, and then we can, do an experiment so they can start looking at us and they can relearn and remember the feelings. But they say, no, I think something needs to be done. We need to experiment with beings who have little past or no past at all. And that's why they chose Earth. But Earth ceased to exist. Earth was destroyed 12,000 million years ago. Earth with meteoric rain disappeared. But these beings that are higher, like on the 10th dimension and above, they can travel in time. So they went to the past of Earth before Earth died, and they created an alternative time. Earth for them is like a spiral. In one of those curves, Earth ceased to exist. So they created an alternative time. And we were on that alternative time all this time. We were like on a matrix. We were not in real time. So basically all this happened until December 21st, 2012, when we entered the real time. And all this we made it happen. So now we're part of the plan. People from Orion didn't like it. Specifically Satan. Satan didn't like it because he wanted them to be the redeemers. People didn't like it. There was a fight. The rest about this. He was punished. He was sent here to Earth to help us reach the 4th dimension. Instead of doing that, he did the opposite. We know what Satan is all about. So he adores Lucifer, who is a being of the 10th dimension. So basically, all these things are going on here on Earth many, 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 many times. He ended up dying because here on Earth you age quickly. Being used to be living 2,000-3,000 years, they die here earlier. And he died here physically. He was buried in one of the caves in Easter Island, and one of the other places is south of the city of Mexico, and the other one was in Australia. Those 3 places where they were sent. So anyways, long story short, we are the redeemers. We are the ones trying to make the universe recover the feelings through love and forgiveness, through what Jesus taught us. and that's our job. That's what we need to do. But we need to pretty much let people know what our mission is, because they're looking at us and they're learning, and some of them are already gaining the feelings they needed to gain so they can start evolutionizing and going to a higher dimension. So they're not stuck anymore. Pretty much that's the whole mumbo jumbo of the universe that we're living in. Part of the cosmic plan I just told you about in the last 5 minutes.
So, so what you're trying to do is you're trying to help the aliens who are at higher dimensions regain their feelings in exchange for them helping us with what we need. Is that accurate?
Um, well, we need to do that. They need to do something else that they have doing it already. What it is they're not going to pass the exam for us. We need to reach fourth dimension if we want to stay here. We're going to die eventually, but do you want to be born here, or you want to be born on another world, third dimension, for another 26,000 years? That's the key to the matter. You don't want to stay in a third dimension planet to have and see everything we know about. You know, all the lies, everything. You know, all the bad things that we know about. So we want to stay here in the fourth dimension. We need to reach the fourth dimension. Is it possible? Yes, we can. But we need to learn. We need to start, getting active, telling people this, meetings, do the practices, go to those outings, get your initiations, become a better person, and just be better than yourself. Don't be better than nobody. Be better than yourself and try to elevate your frequency. And everything comes with that. Everything comes with that.
So you're trying to get humans in general to evolve towards the fourth dimension, and the aliens are trying to get their feelings back. Yes?
That's what they need. That's what they're doing. That's what they're accomplishing from what I know.
Okay.
We need to do is raise our vibration so we can reach that fourth dimension, among other things. This is just a summary that we're saying here.
Right, right.
We want to be in that stage before we die, let's say, because we want to be born here again. It's 23,000 years. You don't want to spend that on a third dimension planet, you know, full of everything you already know. So in a fourth dimension planet, you can do other things that right now we cannot. Like we can have capability of telepathy, for example. You can cure at a distance. You can cross or do a Xendra that are so innate. We can do a Xendra ourselves. It's just nobody taught us. We don't know about. But all these things we're going to be able to do once we reach the fourth dimension. And also, we're going to start helping planets on third dimension, like what they're doing right now to us. People like Sampiac, Oxal, Culba, etc., etc., etc. So we're going to be ending being the White Brotherhood from now on. So basically, they're going to give us the baton and says, okay, now it's your turn. But we need to really be prepared to accept that baton and do what we need to do.
So you're trying to help humans reach the fourth dimension internally within themselves so that we can assume the mantle of helping other third dimensional planets also go to the fourth dimension.
To summarize, yes, we follow 24 practices, like lessons, uh, before we want to go to a retreat, to an outing, because if you don't, it's going to be a waste of your time. You need to know what's going on. You need to what to look after. You cannot be an obstacle, because if you're going to be one, you rather not go. So basically, right now, do some reading, get a book or two from Sixto. I have some myself, CDs to practice meditations. Um, Start looking inside of you, um, and then when the time comes, usually Sixto has his outings here with us during the summertime, June, July, even August. Um, and if we want to be part of that, and we're very welcome to be part of that, but I advise people to prepare yourself. Get some of the books or some of the CDs. Prepare yourself. Look inside of you. Look at the mirror. See who you are and try to become a better person. Like when you do this in a group, is better, because when you do this in a group, there are exercises that flow very much more easily when you do it as a group. Okay, I've done them. You know, you can start like using your touch. How can you see a postcard face down and try to tell what kind of figures do you have? And when you do them in the group, you'd be amazed. Probably 8 out of 10, you're gonna get them right. So these are one of the examples of the many exercises that we do to become a better person and better prepared to when the outing comes. When the outing comes, we are there already. We're ready to serve, because that's what we're going there for, to serve. Not just to get my initiation. No, you want to serve. That's how I look at it. So
Right.
basically, that's what I'm telling you.
Um, well, God. So, so you have met Nordic type beings, and you met other types of beings that are look like Oriental humans, correct?
Correct. There's many different kinds. Like
Well, I'm just talking
Marlocks.
about the ones you've met first,
Okay. Yes. 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 Yes.
and the craft that you've seen.
It
You
was cylindrical.
said the other ones were further away, like a light in the sky.
Like a star in the sky. But you see, they tell you where they're going to show up, and they tell you the time and place. So when you go there and you see the star, it's not just a flying star. It's a corroboration of the message you received, which is
Right.
legitimate. That tells you all the messages that we receive, they're not legitimate until you see them in the sky, or other corroboration types. But that's the main one. That's the one we've been using since 1974.
So you worked in Ashburn?
I used to live in Ashburn, so when I had those experiences, yes,
Used to live in Ashburn.
correct.
I've worked there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I did too. I worked for MCI WorldCon, for UUNet. Now it's Verizon.
I worked at Boeing.
Oh, okay, good. My well, brother-in-law, I think, worked in Northrop and Grumman, and then he's somewhere else. He's in the Commerce Department now.
Um, so I get, are there any other interesting experiences you've had that are beyond um, your mission that you'd like to tell people about? Anything that we haven't discussed that is interesting that you've experienced that we haven't gone over?
I would tell people question everything. I went to Aramumuru, which is this big stone, and next to Lake Titicaca. It's like cut it with a knife, and it's a blind door, trapezoidal, just like the doors in Machu Picchu. And you go there, and it used to have a handle. Someone took it, so you go there and you meditate, putting your forehead there with your friends. You go fasting, and you meditate and chant certain words, specific words. Uh, Not a couple, for a while, and with your vibe raised and everything, and you're gonna have experiences. After we did this last time I was there, everything started smelling like flowers, like roses. That means that there was contact. But if we kept at it, we could even have had more experiences. We saw the ships in over Lake Titicaca that night. You know, so it's something that people can do this, and you can have experiences out of this world too. You know, this is only one of the examples of what I went through when I was in Lake Titicaca and when I went to Aramumuru, which is this big portal. It's sitting there next to Lake Titicaca.
You went through the portal?
No, Yokeaoki with the Incas and all the treasures. It's believed that he crossed that portal to take all the stuff to the sun and all the wealth, all the treasures to Paititi back in the days when the Spanish came. So basically, that happened back in the days. There's two versions of two tunnels. There's multiple tunnels in South America, but not only there. There's tunnels all over. There's even one tunnel here that goes all the way down to Shasta. There's a tunnel there as well. there's many tunnels, and the purpose, why they're there, all that is explained in the books. I know people want to delve into this and find out more about this, but like I said, it takes time, one step at a time.
These books are in English or Spanish?
No, I have the invitation, which is in English. If people like to have one, just let me know. I have the CDs for meditation as well. Just get in touch with me. I don't know if you can share my email with them as well. It's my first name dot last name at gmail.com. And you do have my name, don't you?
Yes. So, what is there anything you want to promote as far as websites or books or anything of that nature you'd like to say so people understand?
I would tell you, I have the invitation, which is a book that summarizes the first two books that Sixto has, which is pretty much good. Let me show you. I mean, I have many of his books, but that in particular one, it's a good book to have, called The Invitation. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, that's this book. And also I do have CDs for meditation, that to get you going. So when the time comes, everything about this COVID-19 changed everything. So we are going to postpone the retreat, but not that we're not going to have it. We're going to have it, but we're just pushing the dates, back. There's at least 8 or 10 CDs that I do have for meditation as well. A good thing to have. The CDs are also in English. You need to start looking inside. Every CD has a purpose. It's not just meditating. You need to know what you're doing. And I do have, for example, Malinalco and the Cathedral. It does have a meaning. What is this meditation for? I mean, I can explain that also in an email. This is the Pyramids in the Jungle and the Lighthouse. Another CD. All these are in English. What the Tide Brings and the book. I have also The Bridge and the Angel and the Sphere of Light.
Turn it towards where you're. To your left. Yeah, right there. Now bring it up. There we go. The Bridge and the Angel, the Sphere of Light.
Right.
Okay.
That's that one.
Yeah, hold all of the CDs just like you held that one.
Okay. This is What the Tide Brings and the book.
Down. There we go. What the Tide Brings Us. The book. Okay.
Right.
Is that an audio book?
Those are meditations. There's also audiobooks, but these are meditations just to open up. And everyone has a different purpose as well. I can also send you that name.
The Pyramid in the Jungle, the Lighthouse.
The Lighthouse, correct. Very good meditations, by the way.
They're all in English.
They're all in English, yes. Malinalco, and the other one is the Cathedral.
Malinalco, the Cathedral. Cool.
Right, and this one is about the light ship and the shaman.
Down. Okay. Well, no, up. Right there. Stop. Down, tiny bit. Down. Right there. The light ship, the shaman. Okay. Go ahead.
I don't know if you saw this one. This is the Secret Garden and the lake.
Pull it back a little bit towards you. Yeah, and up a little bit. Yeah, right there. What is it? The Secret Garden, the lake. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Did I show you the Bridge and the Angel and the Sphere of Light? I did, right?
I think so. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and I do have. I mean, there's like almost 10. The Merkaba and the 7 houses.
The Merkaba.
Yeah.
The 7 houses. Okay.
The Chakana and the four pyramids.
The Chicana and the. Okay.
It's like the Andean cross. And pretty much, it's like almost 8 or 10 different CDs that I have that do help look inside of you. Each CD has a purpose, and that's a good first step for you to do to prepare yourself for an outing, because anybody can go to an outing, but make good use of your time and not waste other people's time. Because if you're not prepared, what you're going to do, you're not going to help the whole vibe go up once we're together. You see what I'm saying? So
So what website are all your products on that you can tell us about? Is there a website?
I have a blog, and you can change to any language that you want. How would I tell you this? I can email you my blog. Um,
I mean,
Sixto,
how do you sell your product if you don't have a website?
mine is Anatomía de un Contacto, but that's Spanish. It's Anatomy of a Contact in Spanish.
So that's a
That
website.
that's a blog that I have.
It's a blog.
And yes, the main purpose is not for me to sell. My main purpose is to have people be ready to take the next step. And everything we've been talking about. Sixto has multiple websites, but like I said, you can Google that and translate that as well, even though sometimes Google is not as good. But there's so much to learn, so much to do. Once we start doing this, believe me, you're not going to stop. Once you see the shapes, once you see them, once you have your own experience, you're not going to want to stop. It's something that it kept me going since the first time, and probably it will happen the same thing to you if you're for it.
So if people wanted to buy your CDs and what's the book called?
The book is called The Invitation.
If they wanted to buy these products, would they go through Amazon, or is that the best way?
Well, to help the cause and to help Sixto, get in touch with me. I can help you out with this. I have the books with me. I have the CDs with me.
It's
and,
better to buy directly from you.
Yes, that's what I would do. As the same thing as I was doing when I first started. And I have the books, and if people are interested, they can get in touch with me.
Okay, well, we're almost reaching 2 hours. I don't know how long you want to go. I don't know how tired you are and everything.
I pretty much gave you the main idea of what you wanted to know or needed to know. We can always get in touch with, through this Skype call again if you like, if you have more questions or whatever. I'll be happy to do so, but,
Well, I think I would like to, one of the things I'd like to do is help you. I think that you have a good I think, how I'll put this, I think maybe you have a very good cause, and so if I can help you out with your effort in selling his books and CDs directly without people going through Amazon and that sort of thing. If there's something I can do, like, see, I have a website. I can always put it on my website, and just, like, if you were to, let's say you were to take a camera and take a picture in good light of each of your products, your CD and your book or whatever, and you were to take that picture with a digital camera, and then you could copy those images over to a computer, attach them to an email, send them to me. I can put them on a website and have your email address and whatever else you want me to put on there, so that people can reach you to buy the product from you. Not to make a lot of money necessarily, but just to help the cause. And if you want to do something like that, we could do that. But in any case, just let me know if that's something you want to do. I would be happy to help you guys out. So I don't know.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I do really appreciate. Yes, I like to do that. And I also give conferences, every time I can. I've gone to New York, Canada, and people are happy every time I do give conferences, one or two. And I do take my product with me, the CDs and the books, and also sell them there as well.
So when you have these conferences, typically what kind of rate do you charge the participants?
Well, if I'm there, I am not going to charge. This is something that I have not done since, well, a couple of months already, but the books itself are $30, and each CD is $15. Each CD has two meditations, and that's pretty much the going rate, for what this CDs are going for, and also the books. Now, I do sometimes take a conference, and I do go to places like New York or Canada, and for what I've done before, these conferences have been going for at least, about $30 the conference, and just to cover my cost, pretty much.
Well, I think we've probably gone over everything, unless you have something you want to say that you haven't said so far.
No, I want to thank you for your time. I want to put this together in a synopsis and send it to you. If you guys want to, hear more or want the books, the CDs, I'll be happy to get in touch with them through you or however else you want, and put the word out there and be ready, I guess, for the next outing.
So when you printed your book, I've got a book that I want to get printed soon. And how did Sixto go about printing his book? Do you know?
He has a bookstore in Lima that he's doing. Um,
They print on demand?
that it's price wise is better for him because every time we try to help him out because he has to travel pretty much. He travels 11 months of the year, and he's always busy in different countries all over the world. And all he's doing is sharing his knowledge.
Right.
All the retreats have been with him. When I was with him in Easter Island or Chile or wherever, Argentina or Uruguay or Colombia, Mexico, Canada, US, I've been with him in Mount Shasta at least 4 times. He shares a wealth of knowledge, and every time you hear him, it's like food for your soul. Believe it or not, it makes you feel better and want to be a better person. And he's taught us a lot through the years. Believe it or not.
But okay, so he has a printing company in Lima that he uses to print his book, correct?
Yes, I don't want to speak for him, but I know that he's been doing that as well. But many people go to Amazon and get their books there, but we want to help him. So that's the purpose, trying to help Sixto because, this is his job. He needs to travel to those places everywhere. He needs airfare, hotel, everything.
Sure.
So if you just think about this, um, and when you go to an outing and Sixto is there, things are going to happen. Believe me, all the outings I've been to with Sixto, things happen unless we mess up. If you mess up, you're going to find out. You know. So we need to do everything we can so things happen during the retreat. If they're going to say that we're going to have the crystals, the session crystals, the third crystal, the the Xendras and this and that, if 2 out of 3 or 1 out of the 4 happens, it's because we had failed in something, and we need to do a job to look at ourselves and see where did we fail. And we do this in every retreat. We have had retreats that have gone perfect with Xendras and the whole thing, but we have also had retreats where people come late, they come the next day, you know, things happen that I don't want to get into. But if you want to make things happen, we need to be in the one page, all of us. If we're on one page, things are going to happen. Just to summarize it.
Is there anything else you'd like to say before we end this?
Well, I'm happy to have shared all this information with you, and I hope this is not the last time we talk. I do want to hear more about
No.
your friends and whoever wants to know more about this.
Well, this is just for my podcast. What I'll do is I will click the stop recording button or words at the top of the Skype, and then I will save the recording, and then I'll post it to my YouTube channel, and then I can always put a link to it on my website also, and so I can promote it from my website, and you should get some contacts through that, putting those up there, because one of these days soon, people will start going to my YouTube channel. I just started it. You're the third person I've interviewed so far. I interviewed a healer out of Sussex, England. I've interviewed a writer, and then you're the third person. And so I kind of want to focus on aliens, but not everybody has contact with aliens. So it's like you guys are kind of rare, you know? And so uh, go ahead. You want to say something? Go ahead.
No, I want to say I do have an email where I already put together the CDs plus the meaning of it plus the Sixto's book, the invitation. I can forward that to you if you want to link it to your, to your website or whatever.
Well, I'll create you a page on my website, and I will put a link at the top of that page to this interview. And if you have other links of, if there's anything that Sixto, if there's anything that Sixto that you want me to link to directly about his stuff, I can always put all kinds of links on this page, and it'll be part of my page. And we can always make it as nice as as you want it to be made, and just to help you and Sixto out. And yeah, no, I'm not planning on this being the only time we talk. We'll keep in touch.
I really thank you very much, Charles. I mean, I know we talked a lot and time goes by. I had another interview earlier today, and I feel happy sharing this information with people who have not heard or not know about this, about the cosmic plan and where we all fall into this. Earth is mutating. We're in the middle of everything, and what do you do with this truth? And it's something that it motivates me doing this, because once we go to a retreat, you are going to see when things happen, and that's going to get you going. And also the people who are sharing also this information, who prepare themselves, who read a book or two and practice the meditation with the CDs. That's the little we can do so far, because when the time comes to the retreat, Six already gave me the yes. We're going to go ahead and have the experience also, whether if it's here or New York or California, wherever. We can just get together and go to an outing and make things happen. We need to start doing this here in the U.S.
So if you had to guess how many people were doing this around the world as part of your group, you just give me a ballpark. It doesn't even have to be accurate, just a wild ballpark.
We're in over 40 countries right now.
How many people? How many people total you think it is?
It's a lot. Every retreat we do worldwide, there's about 300 people, but it's not the quantity. Let me tell you, it's the quality of people. When I was in Colombia, it was only 30 of us, and we had the big Xendra that we had, the big, messages that Sixto channeled in that retreat. It was quite amazing. Sometimes it's not the quantity, it's the quality of the people, and we got to make those things happen.
Well, I'm just trying to get an idea of the size of your organization overall. Not necessarily that it's a close-knit organization, but I'm just kind of curious about the total number of people that are actually involved in the process that you've described.
I know we're
1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000.
I think it's more than that.
Well, if you had to guess, what would you say?
I wouldn't need to look into it. I don't want to give you a wrong number, but we're in many countries.
I'm not looking for accuracy. I'm just trying to get a guesstimate. Like 10,000, 20,000, 30,000.
Probably. Just type Sixto Paz in YouTube. Just see how many videos he has and how many followers. That responds your answer right there. He is worldly known, but at this point I have this thing against me. Why? Because I'm doing this for Sixto in English, and it makes me happy because he puts his trust in me to do this. So basically, I need to do this right. I have the information, I have the tools, and I don't want to stop. I want to just go ahead and do it. I don't want to tell you it's 5,000, because probably it's more, and I don't want to. I just want to tell you that the number is growing, and it's not only here in America, It's all over Latin America. It's in Spain and Europe, and maybe Asia too as well. Because I mean, we have had trips to Mongolia, to to the desert out there.
You've been to Mongolia?
No, but one of our friends did, and Sixto also did because he needed to before everything was there in Mongolia. And you can read this in the Cosmic Plan. There's a lot of information that can also send you that what really happened there. Things are the big thing going on right now is in South America in the Andes, properly speaking. Okay, so everybody's going there now because that's where things are going on right now. It's not in Mongolia no more. It's not in Agartha no more. That's where it's is in the Andes, correct? And many of the mountains where beings are there right now in the Andes, um, like Huascarán and many other places, or people that we have met, like Alcir, who's an Aztec Namanes, is a mix of people from Father from the Stars, and the mom is from here. So a friend of mine met him in the Andes, and in back in the days, and the whole story that happened there, the communication telepathically speaking, what did they say, what did they learn, everything he knew about, and we're in the middle of everything, like I said. So I mean, we can, I guess, leave this for another occasion, but there's a lot to learn from these beings.
So when you say the Andes, which country or countries are we talking about? Peru?
Almost all of the countries in South America. We're talking Colombia, we're talking Ecuador, we're talking Argentina, we're talking Chile, we're talking Bolivia, Brazil.
So is there, in the Andes being stretching across many countries, is there one of those countries you feel is more active than any of the others?
I would say Peru, but that's not the only country. But Peru is like the Mecca. Peru is where everything got started, but it's not the only one. Don't take me wrong, okay? Because one of the sons also is in Guatavita in Colombia or in Uruguay. So, you know, in Brazil, like we have a mountain called El Roncador, the snoring mountain, because at nighttime you hear noises coming from the ground. It's them, you know. If you look at it in Google, the snoring mountain, the Roncador in Brazil, that's specifically the reason why. I can go on and on, and you know, in other mountains as well in Peru and in Chile, and in Bolivia as well.
So inside Peru itself, is there an area of Peru that you think is you feel is more? I've heard stories about Chile and Peru, and I've been to Peru myself. And but is there an area of Peru that you feel is more active than another area of Peru?
Uh, if you go to the Andes, El Huascarán maybe, all the Andes, getting close to Cusco. Huascarán is one of the good ones. Is one of the biggest mountains in Peru, so that's a good place to start. My
Cusco.
expertise,
Cusco.
well, going towards Cusco, but the mountain is called Huascarán. Is not my expertise with the extraterrestrials, even though I read a lot about them as well. But
Hold
yeah,
on, back up. Interterrestrials. Now you got me.
I don't want to open another door. No, that's a subject maybe for another day. Yeah, we do have the extraterrestrials, we have the extraterrestrials, we have the ultra terrestrials, and you know, and so forth.
Describe an interterrestrial and describe an ultraterrestrial.
I
Just in a
told you.
vague, quick, short.
Alcir is one of Alcir is one of them.
What's an interterrestrial? What is an interterrestrial?
Well, there are beings that are living inside the mountains, and for a reason. So, a friend of mine called Ricardo Gonzalez met him, and not on the entryway to Paititi, but on the outside. Like there's the main door to go into the house. This is like the back door. He went into Paititi through the back door, and he met Alcir, specifically like he said it was gonna be, and it really happened. He met Alcir there. And Alcir is not an extraterrestrial per se, but it is. His dad is from the stars. The mom is from here. So we call them Steknamanes. And he knows a lot, and he shared a lot of information.
So an interterrestrial, in your mind, is a higher level being that lives in the earth.
Correct. Yep.
Like in Mount Shasta.
Correct. Yes.
And what about an ultra-terrestrial? What is an ultra-terrestrial?
That's a higher being. They're vibrating probably 10th. You and I are in the third dimension. They're like 10 and above. So they're ultra. They don't even have corporeity like you and I do.
So the 49,
They're
uh,
guys like they're
guys, what
beings like
level
you.
are they on? What level are they on
They're
most of them?
dimension, fourth, fifth. Now when we're talking about sixth, seventh, and eighth, that's another level. Like people is very organized. They have like a congress and it's very, very organized. It's just they're not guarding the earth from people who want to come harm us. That's other people. So they are more in contact with us. There's a whole hierarchy of divisions of ETs that are in this cosmic plan. You know,
But the guides, your guides, the 49 are mostly fourth and fifth.
mostly yes, yes, and they are in the email I sent you.
Have you ever been, uh, have you ever gotten close to an interterrestrial or an ultra-terrestrial, either one?
No, 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 no. You got to prepare yourself pretty much. I mean, once you start noticing that how much more you need to advance to get close to whatever you want to see, it just tells you how much further you need to do. But I don't want to sound disappointing or not. I just want to tell you that we're in the
No.
right path. We should be pushing forward on this and doing the next step.
Anything else you want to say before we end this?
At this point, I'm happy that we had this chat. It was very productive. We touched on the different subjects. We can touch on many more, but I'll be happy to do this in another occasion. I'll be sending you the email with the information you requested, and I'm happy we had this conversation.
Well,
Charles.
if there's anything else that you can think of that we didn't go over for the next time, keep that in mind, and and send me an email saying, if there's something that you'd like to talk about that is, that we didn't even consider talking about that you think is important.
The only thing that crossed my mind right now is I would tell people to prepare yourself if any of this calls your attention. Prepare yourself for an outing. Just read, become a better person through the meditations, and then there's a lot of information that I will also be sending you. And so whenever Sixto comes, we can be part of that outing and have our own experience. Whether if it's session crystals or whatever, your cosmic name, whatever, you can even start meditating. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Mentally spoken. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Nonstop. Who am I? Who am I? Until someday you're going to get something, a syllable or two. That may be your cosmic name. And that's only serves for you to learn about you and your past. Who are you? Because if you have all that information within you, why not use it? If we already lived many, many, many lives, let's start getting that information out.
Is that how you got your name?
That's how I tried to find my name, and that's when my wife started doing that, and she got one letter, and I kind of pushed Sixto, and
How did you get your name?
I follow Sixto through all the continents, and he never gave me one. So when I didn't ask him for my cosmic name, he gave it to me in Easter Island. So it was something. You need to work for it. It's just not easy as in give me my cosmic name. He's not gonna give it to you. He needs to see progress in you. He needs to see. I'm telling you because I went through this. I asked for my cosmic name in Peru and Spain and Chile and Uruguay. I said, you know what, I give up. But the moment you think you're not gonna get it, boom, he'll give it to you. But you can also try and get it yourself too. In the meantime.
So, okay. Well, I guess I'll end this. Anything else you want to say before we stop?
Well, I'm happy that we have this conversation. I want this to happen again. I hope to hear from you again, Charles.
Oh, you will.
Right.